With me now is Jamie Smith, President and CEO of SCG International. That's a global security firm. He's also a former CIA officer. And Jamie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
As we look at this picture on Capitol Hill, it calls to mind the thought and the theory that everybody in Congress needs to be protected. And I don't know what your view is on that. But 535 members of Congress would not only be a huge logistical task, but in the past when there have been threats, and there have been many, I think everybody serving in Congress at one point has either received a death threat or perhaps an office or home has been vandalized, and yet they soldier on through it. And I guess the difficulty in all that is trying to discern what is a real threat and what is not. Your view on that?
Well, that would be a tremendous challenge for the U.S. Capitol Police. But as you know, when the House is in session, when the Senate's in session, they have the U.S. Capitol Police, a qualified group that's capable of doing that. But once they leave and they go out to the constituency and they go out to their home states and they press the flesh, that's when they're vulnerable. And in this case, the Congresswoman was standing on the corner, and she was meeting with people, and she wanted to shake their hand. She wanted to look them in the eye, and that's where the vulnerability lay in this particular problem. And he came up as part of the crowd, and from 4 feet away, shot her in the head. And that is the reason. One of the reasons that took place is because there was no protection, there was no security, no one was screening for threats. Nobody expected a threat. Our company, we provide that service now for some members of Congress when they leave the Hill. And one of the things we do as part of our protective intelligence assignment is to evaluate the threats against them when they travel in their home states, and then we provide them with security.
Now, I would assume in those scenarios, Jamie, they come to you. Is that accurate?
They do. We just recently received a request to provide security for a member of Congress traveling overseas, and we've done this for diplomats, politicians, and military officers for 5 years, and they'll come to us and ask us if we can provide this service for them, and we always have, and we will continue to do that. And but part of it is, and part of what it could have been done here is a protective intelligence screening of the threats that the Congresswoman had, and then all you need, is just one set of eyeballs, looking at the crowd. I mean, we generally put 3 when somebody has a rope line or a group of people that they're working with. We'll have somebody looking at everybody that's already spoken to her. We'll look at the people that are speaking to her right now, and then we'll look at the people that are about to speak to her. So you have past, present, and future. And that gives a good eye. And we'll also put somebody in the crowd deep that is acting as part of the crowd. And when you layer security like that, and then you address it with protective intelligence on top of that, it adds a layer of security and a layer of protection that that it's affordable, but it's also necessary in some cases, especially those that have definitive threats against them. This particular individual, Lochner, although he didn't have any connections that we can tell based on his MySpace and YouTube, he was an amateur. A professional, when they plan an assassination, they look generally at 3 things. How do I get in? How do I conduct the attack? And how do I escape? This guy showed up in a cab, and he used a handgun. Both of those say that he wasn't planning on any sort of escape. He didn't plan any further than the actual attack. And the use of a handgun is that requires you to be close. And if you do that, people are going to see you. Somebody's going to get to you. So this guy was an amateur. But, an amateur in a crowd with a gun is, as we've seen, unfortunately, can be deadly. And, they would have been really tough to have forecasted ahead of time that he was going to do this, because the National Criminal Information Center, the NCIC, they maintain records on people with a criminal background. So that he went into the outdoor store and bought this weapon legally. The FBI check that they did on him would not have caught him because he had no criminal record that is known at this time. He was rejected by the Army for service. We don't know why. And I believe he was asked to leave wherever he was going for school. But that was not a criminal issue that would have risen to the eyesight of the FBI when they did this check. So he legally purchased this weapon. And that leaves then the possibility that just about the only way to detect these sorts of attacks is to have someone there watching and looking for them.
Yeah, Jamie, your input is invaluable for us here, Martha. And we think about Saturday when I think it was an intern who described when Lochner showed up, he said, "I want to talk to the Congresswoman." And the intern said, "Well, you're going to have to go to the back of the line." And he did that, but only for a few moments, and then he reappeared.
Yeah. And, you know, we're watching this crowd gathering, and obviously all the members of Congress, their hearts go out to Gabrielle Giffords and her family right now. I'm joined by Dr. Jeffrey Brown, who says that what we are not hearing from the doctors, from Dr. Rhee on the scene, is as significant as what we're hearing right now in terms of her condition.
Correct.